Welcome to another week of the Arkansas Football Recruiting Report with Otis Kirk. Otis, we've got a bunch of spring football to talk about and a bunch of recruits as well. You've been there through the majority of spring practice.
Yeah.
For those of us who haven't been as fortunate to be there every day, what are the highlights?
Oh, I think the quarterbacks had a good scrimmage the other day. We got to see two periods of the scrimmage, didn't see the whole thing, and it may have blown up after we left. But when we were there, the quarterbacks looked the best they had looked this spring. It was set up pretty much for them, but it was where they would look good. But they did look good. And I'm not And I'm not just talking about KJ either. I'm talking about Jacoby, Malachi, Cade Fortin, the whole bunch, all of them. They look good. No, I think it was the scrimmages. That one scrimmage we got to see two periods of it. The practices. Three of them were three or four of them were in shorts. So one we didn't see. It was closed completely to the media. But the other ones, they were in shorts pretty much. But they look good. The receivers are coming on. I think Tyrone Broden got hurt at the scrimmage. Didn't look like he could put any weight on his ankle or knee. I don't know what it was when they were taking him off, but they were helping him off. But it didn't look good. He's a receiver. Tyrone Broden. I think I said Terry. Well, I'm thinking about the recruit we're going to talk about. Tyrone Broden. Right. I'm thinking about the recruit we're going to talk about named Terry. But anyway, Tyrone. He couldn't put any weight on his leg, but he was, and I don't know if it's an ankle or knee, but whatever. It didn't look good. But Andrew Armstrong, Isaac Slaw has looked good. The returning receivers all had good catches the other day. Bryce Stevens. Jaden Wilson was in a car wreck, so he's not out there.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Be out there. Yeah, he had a bad accident. It hurt his back a little bit, I think, or something, but he's not in bad shape compared to the cars. But and that's fortunate for him and the other person. I don't know exactly what happened in the accident, but those are unfortunate things. The offensive line is interesting in the sense that it's not 4 or 5 returning starters like it's been since Sam's been there. For the most part, they've known who's going to be the center, the right guard, left guard. Last year, they plugged in Luke Jones from Iron Cunningham at left tackle, and they rolled with it. This spring, it's a lot different. You've got Bo Limmer at center. You've got Brady Latham at left guard or left tackle, depending on what he played. Josh Braum switched out to tackle on Thursday. I'm sorry, that was on Tuesday. Joshua Braum went out to tackle. And I thought that was interesting because one of the things he told me when he committed to Arkansas was one of the things he didn't like about Florida, they moved him to tackle. And he said, I'm not a tackle, I'm a guard. And I actually asked Sam about that. Now, he said, well, we're just experimenting. That was his first day at Tuesday. I haven't even tackled, but that'll be an interesting development if they leave him there because he wasn't happy about playing tackle at Florida. And maybe he's changed here. I don't know, but it'll be interesting. But he may end up playing at guard, but they're still recruiting some kids. I tell you, Devin Manuel and Amarian Harris really look good. I'm talking about weight loss.
Oh, wow.
They have lost a ton of weight. Both those kids were around 380 pounds. They're down to 300 now. Andrew Chamley, I've always thought, I've seen articles saying that he looks good, but he's always looked good to me. I never thought Chamley was really that bad or anything, or overweight.
80 pounds is a lot of pounds.
Chamley looks like offensive tackles are supposed to look in the NFL. Now he's got to play like it, but they sure got the body for it. But they've looked good, Will. For what we've seen and for what they've done, I think AJ Green, Rashad Dubinion has looked good at running back. Of course, we know Rocket has. We know KJ's looked good. That's to be expected. Luke has looked good at tight end. Just overall, they're short on defensive backs, especially on that back end, on the safety, the nickel part. That's where they're going to concentrate some. And losing Al Walcott did not help there. He was going to be the nickel, and he probably still will be, but he won't be this spring. He's on crutches. But they've got to get some more defensive safety types in there, and they will. They've got 8 scholarships left in the portal, and they're going to really hit the safeties hard, safety nickelback type deals. And they've got some guys that'll come. Quincy McAdoo should be back sometime after the spring break and play corner. But Snacks Johnson, Lorendo Johnson's looked better than anybody thought he would. He's looked really good at corner. So we'll see. And Malik Chavis, he's moved back to safety now. And depending on what happens when he comes back, but Ladarius Bishop could be a corner or he could be a nickel. So, he's been out with injuries too, but he's coming back. He and McAdoo should be back after spring break at some point, whereas Walcott will not be. But they're looking good. I mean, what you can tell in the limited time we're there, and then, like I said, 3 of the 4 open practices were in shorts. So it's really hard to tell a whole lot. I'll tell you, I'll brag on a kid from Dumas named Chris Harris. He made some good catches Thursday over there and just missed it. He and Malachi, I believe it was Malachi was quarterback. I'm almost certain it was Malachi Singleton. They just missed on a 50-yard touchdown pass. Malachi threw it just slightly overthrown Chris in the end zone. It would have been a 50-yard touchdown. He made a nice 28-yard catch, Chris Harris. He's a walk-on from Dumas. We don't talk about walk-ons. Don't hear that much. And, got another kid named John Hill from Dumas, defensive lineman. So those kids, they get out there, they practice every day. They deserve the publicity too.
Absolutely.
And John, I will say this about John Hill now. He had a real nice spring game last year at that spring game they had over there. He had a real nice game. So he's a kid. And like I said, there's only been we've only seen 2 periods of scrimmage. And then I think it was just 3 of us there the other day, reporters. So I think most people were either at basketball or watching basketball. Yep. So it wasn't, I think there was 3 beat reporters, right. Me and 2 others. So it was a thin crew of media. There was a few photographers, and then they shed out pretty quickly. So they got out of there too. But it was just 3 of us there for it. And we got to stay for, I believe, 9 periods, but 2 of them were scrimmage, and the rest of them were different. Some of it was special teams. Some of it was 7-on-7. Some of it was just stretch. And, it wasn't all scrimmage. We didn't get to stay for 9 periods of scrimmage. They were still scrimmaging when we left, and I'd love to have seen the rest of it, but whatever. I mean, hey, I appreciate you getting in. A lot of coaches don't allow you any access to practice to watch any of it. And so, I'm not griping when I say we've had limited access. I'm just saying, just speaking the truth. I'm not griping because there's plenty getting less access than we get. So It is what it is. But I'm just saying that the more access I have, obviously, the more I can talk about what I'm seeing, because if I'm not seeing it, I can't tell you about it. And like I said, there's been 2 of the 5. We didn't even get media access afterward to coaches or players, and including Thursday. And so what's happened is they're trying, and I understand where Kyle and Sam and those guys are coming from. You've got basketball going on, you've got baseball. They're trying to everybody's spread thin as it is. And I think that's why I know that's why they're not having the access. I think once it gets back after spring break, once basketball ends, then I think there'll be more access available and stuff. So so I don't want to sound like I'm on here griping. I'm not. I'm just saying from the sense that when I say what I've seen, this is in limited. I just want people to understand that's in limited time that I've seen. Limited available time. That's all I can.
KP, we're on the record. We're not complaining. We appreciate all the access that we do get.
Oh yeah.
Let's
he knows that, and he's explained it to me. He's explained it to me. I mean, and I get it. I completely get that. It's not, it's just, it is what it is. And and as I said, there was only 3 reporters there anyway Thursday. So it's not like everybody was there waiting on media access. Only 3 of us showed up to cover it. So it is what it is. We're all spread thin right now.
Oh, anytime I run into an SID, they tell me how busy they are, and I'll tell you, I feel for them. All right, we have a committal from last week, Norelle White from Ocean Springs, St. Martin's. What are we hearing on that?
Okay, and first, there's 5 kids on the list, and we're going to talk about them. They're all 2024, and Norelle White committed to Arkansas Monday. So these are all kids for the upcoming class. He is the 3rd commitment, I believe. I should know. He's the 3rd one that committed to Arkansas. They went on 1 for the longest, and then they got the defensive lineman from Memphis. And then Norelle White, he's a 4-star, 6 foot 170, probably will play corner. And the reason I say that, he told me his position coach was his lead recruiter. Marcus Woodson is his lead recruiter. He really praised Coach Woodson. And so I take it he's going to play cornerback then if he's, because he could be a receiver too. There's a lot of people he could play receiver. I
Yeah.
mean, we're talking about a kid that had over 30, plenty of offers, bunch of 15, 20 offers. And we're talking about schools like Auburn, Ole Miss, Mississippi State, you know, just the typical schools that recruit those type kids. I
Oh yeah.
mean, he's Florida State was in there. And I think that's where Woodson got his connection with the kid was from Florida State, and then picked up the recruiting when he got to Arkansas. Continued with the recruiting when he got to Arkansas. But
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people thought he was going to Ole Miss, and I honestly I probably thought he was too. But he sure committed to Arkansas. Speaks volumes for the job that these all these coaches, not just the new coaches, but all those coaches are doing up there, recruiting these kids. They're getting visits from kids that used to wouldn't have visited, and they're also getting commitments from kids, and these are all out of state kids that's committed. So and they're all kids that had offers to their home state, a lot of offers, and they're choosing Arkansas for a reason.
Yeah, absolutely. TJ Lindsey, defensive line, 2024, Bryant. What's that
Yeah,
looking
he
like?
has over 30 offers. Yeah, 6'5", 275. He's a stud, defensive lineman. TJ plays over at Bryant, wins the state championship every year. He gets those state championship rings. He can go anywhere he wants to go, and he'll be at Miami on Tuesday. He was here for the scrimmage. He came up for the scrimmage, and had a fact. In fact, the next four, he and the next three you're going to talk about, we're all here for Thursday scrimmage. Will just to say that, to make it clear, all four of these kids, besides Norelle, were here for the scrimmage. TJ has been to a lot of schools. Been up here before. He's even camped at Arkansas. He came to prospect days. TJ's a great football player, and Arkansas Deke Adams is working hard to get him. So is Sam Pittman. Sam talked to him for hours the other day after the practice scrimmage. So just TJ is just the type kid that he's a good kid. He knows how to win. They win at Bryant. He's a winner, and that not just that, he's a great football player, man, and a good person. But 6'5", 275, he and Charlie Collins are the type of kids that you've got, and Brian Huff and those kids, and C.J. Brown, Courtney Crutchfield, the type of kids you've got to keep your state. And, of course, your running back, Braylon Russell over at Benton also. So there's a lot of good kids. Kobe down in Southside, Kobe Brown, that 2024 class in Arkansas is completely loaded.
Yeah, and now we've got a wide receiver, C.J. Brown from Bentonville.
Yeah, he did the Al Bundy trick. He scored 4 touchdowns in one game. So up there in the playoffs last year. So yeah, CJ can really catch football. He's about 6'1", 180, 185 maybe. Talked to him a little bit at scrimmage the other day, just hung out with him a little bit. He wasn't an interview or anything like that, just said hi to him and talked. He's a good kid. And he was offered on January the 21st, I believe. Oklahoma State, Kansas State, Colorado State, Louisville, UNLV. Others have offered him. Purdue offered, Arkansas State, but he's going to get more. I think Tennessee will probably offer him pretty soon, and some others. But CJ is a kid that they need to keep home because he can catch football. They got Joey Sue from Bentonville last year, and they need to try to. I hope they are able to keep CJ at home. I know he and his dad commented on Kenny Guyton the other day. They really like Kenny Guyton. And, it's understandable. Kenny, good coach, good receivers coach, good person. And so we'll see how this recruiting turns up for CJ. But he's a good football player. And I think Arkansas is doing everything they can to keep him at home.
Yeah,
hopefully they're successful.
Is he an Arkansas kid or is he a Walmart kid?
Yeah, from Bentonville.
Yeah.
He's from Bentonville.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, now the name of the day, Terry Boosie, wide receiver, Timpson, Arkansas. Oh my gosh, wow, Timpson, Texas.
No, Timpson, Texas,
wow.
Yeah.
It's early.
Timpson, Arkansas, they wish he was from here. Yeah. This is a kid that been recruited as a wide receiver. Get this, he passed for he passed last year for 2,177 yards, rushed for 25 or 2,600, just short of 2,600, scored 46 touchdowns rushing, passed for 26 touchdowns, had 115 tackles on defense, 5 interceptions, 4 of them he returned for a touchdown. I don't know how he had enough energy to run back 4 interceptions after all he does on offense. This is a kid that can do it all. He's got he's got over 30 offers, just like Lindsey. I mean, another kid that can go anywhere he wants to go, just a big time player. He was up here for the scrimmage and enjoyed it. And I tell you, Terry's just the type player that you get him, he's a difference maker. I mean, he is a franchise type player. He's 4-star and probably could be a 5-star, to be honest with you, if he concentrated on one position. But at school he goes to, he's asked to do basically everything. And he's doing it and doing it. And as I said, he's doing a very good job of it. Anytime you pass for that many yards and 26 touchdowns, and then you run for 46, and then you take 4 interceptions back. I mean, that's just off the top of my head. That's like 76 touchdowns. That's quite a bit he accounted for it, Will.
Wow.
So, yeah, but that's a name to keep in mind.
76.
I don't know that Arkansas,
76?
Yeah, well, he passed for 40. I mean, he rushed for 46 touchdowns. He passed for 26. So that's 72. And then he returned 4 interceptions for touchdowns. So that's 76 touchdowns. And I'm talking about in the season. He accounted for. There's teams don't score that many touchdowns. Yeah. I mean, this is a kid. These are not career stats. These are his 2020. What would that be? 2022 stats.
Yeah,
those are not career. Those are career stats for a lot of players, and those are yearly stats for him. He's a stud, man. I mean, he's a big time player. I don't know what Arkansas' chances are. I mean, he's playing it close to the vest, but I mean, he's the kid that wherever he goes, somebody's going to get a big time player who will play in 2024. He will be on the field for some school in 2024. If he doesn't get an injury before then, he will be out on the field when they play in 2024, wherever he goes.
Yeah, it sounds like there's a reason why he has 30 plus offers there. All right, last name, Josiah Martin, third wide receiver of the day that we're talking about.
Yeah.
Denton Greer, Texas?
Denton Geyer, yeah. Yep. Down north of Dallas. Yeah, my youngest son used to live in Denton, Texas.
Nice.
This kid, that's the same town that the linebacker that came here from Alabama last year, Drew Sanders, played at Denton. He didn't play it. Don't believe he played at Geyer. I shouldn't say he was from Denton anyway, and this is the same town. Josiah had 28 offers. He caught 60 passes for 878 yards and 9 touchdowns. He had 28 offers. He took it down to 12. And that's Arkansas, Ole Miss, Mississippi State, and Tennessee in the SEC. Outside the SEC, you've got schools like Wisconsin, California, Purdue, TCU, Boston College, Houston, Baylor, and Penn State. So you can tell he's another kid that's being nationally recruited. And as I said, he had 28 and narrowed it down to 12. Type player that there again, I mean, he's a big-time player for a reason. And, one of the Texas kids that Kenny's been able to get in here. He's got connections down to Texas, recruiting ties down there, and he's taking off with it. And he had those 2 receivers in from Texas and 1 from Bentonville. If he can get 1 or 2 of those 3, he's done his great job, and try to add Courtney Cusfield from Pine Bluff, and then, just off topic a little bit, but people have asked me, who do you think will be the quarterback in the class of 2024 if Walker White does go to Auburn? And I think Aaron Nolan, who we've talked about, and KJ Jackson, one from Alabama, Jackson from Alabama, Nolan's from Georgia. Those are kids that I think to keep in mind. Everybody's interested in quarterback recruiting, but that's 2 names. And, we've talked about both of them on here, but I don't want to go into long detail about them, but they have both visited recently. And but Aaron Nolan and KJ Jackson, how appropriate would for Arkansas to get a quarterback named KJ? I mean,
my gosh,
how appropriate would that be, man? Is it karma or what, man? I mean, you just hope if you do, he's as good as the last KJ that was here, played that position. So, but no, those are 2 names. And everybody, I just bring that up because everybody asked me about quarterback recruiting. Everybody's interested in it. And even though they have bigger priorities in the class than a quarterback.
For sure.
Everybody asked about that position. So I want to throw those out and, before, but we've mentioned spring ball, 5 names, and then those 2. So it's been a pretty good report, but I just wanted to let people know that those are 2 names along with Walker. Those are kind of been the 3 kids they've really zeroed in on. And, maybe Walker was gone before and Dan didn't have a shot, but he was recruiting Nolan. I mean, he was recruiting these kids at Maryland, these other kids before he came here. So that gives him a shot. He had a previous relationship with them, so that's good.
Yeah.
So we'll see where all this leads, and they may get somebody else not even on the list right now, and that's what happens. But a lot depends on too. I mean, what does Chriswell and Malachi's development? That a lot depends on that too. And they both, like I said, both of them looked really good at scrimmage the other day. Big Trail Nation, Hogville. I actually had a story kind of detailing what the quarterbacks did.
Mm-hmm.
If you get a chance to pick up, read that, because I know it was written while the basketball game was going on, or right after the basketball game. So I don't know how many people even care to read it or see it, but it's something, if you've got time today to go back and kind of look at the stats from that scrimmage. It's not the complete stats, but it's the big plays. What I did, I put in there the big plays, because I didn't want to put stats, because like I said, I only saw 2 periods. So I only reported on what I saw. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's all interesting stuff there, Otis. Otis, we really appreciate your time. I know you got a whole bunch of March Madness to watch today. Kidding. I'm kidding. I know where your priorities are. Otis, we appreciate you having you on. And don't forget to check in next week for another episode of your Arkansas football recruiting report. Thanks, Otis.
Thanks, man.